start. And then we could, Gishla could start the teaching. Is that all right?
Yes. So we are not starting
Yeah.
the.
Yes. All right. So I have to log on now, log off because I'm in class. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Bye bye.
Okay.
Oh,
Any 드린기 걸사 인진알로라 낭치교 교금에 인겔하게 카도 벽에날라 교나이 교네 이니 나샤네 디사리에 송도 콘들이 미콩고에서 라
that's gomas.
인진알로라 남구디 담바지 교요알 디 디리 메바제 엔 카도 겔하게 상게 추조 교는 인디네 낭치 우즈나로지스
Yeah.
게세
Cotton dergi means that.
라 콘시들이 콩고면드선
Yeah.
나
Oh, some no so the journal, the Hello, the years on the Boba, so the journal, Dagi Chichi, someone the dollar business on the Dula, Sunday Journal, so the journal, Dagi Chichi, someone the dollar business. Sanjay and Oba, Sage, Vacation, Sanjay Kentan, the Venada, Edamura, Mendela, Kake Segura, Gerala, Nemendara, Nijata, Tivana Way, Babas, Sawane, Belona, Kanyata, Conjere, Peje, Rujo, India, Rebaziba, Kanyamba, the data, Taba, Tabu, Gojo, to be Sonation in the Alala, Medame, Oji, Ambata, Jaja, Chuchuala, Sanjay Sambara, the Jojo, the Kiki, Tambichu. Chinen de ke de jaje ye de che sabe de joba de che jawan de la cho de ji kubai de la bi ne ja da cho de yu me be on be ta ne le ba ti o to bi so ne che to bi ke ne jo ye che me la da lu so shi yu cho na cha hi je jo ne sa la jo che kang she de lu che ke je na ye de che da no ma ba ye ne ge sa wa she ba ye de da ya da sa ba che jo de na che san je so da shi wo na Odanya Bari, Namala Yekano, Nami Yeki, Nami Yekano, Doa Kunde Dana Chetama, Mande Gedo Dage Chetendo. Pony Niji Sodon Jubela, Chetes and the Ponche, Tendi, Shana, Tenzi Jazala, so Yendel and Do Show, also Tatarin and ta chupu jechi yetung ge nimbu chi de diwa ta taba chi bi ge rijena sanje sale andu de ge chulu na to sho ta cha cha ma no leba tembi ta konsu chi je sha jo zeng ba chen de zi bu ni shang chu long ji ri ba de ta long xia ba xia yu chu ta de ta bi ge taba chi bi che de xia ba la ni ji taba chi bi che de Tabachin Chufalo, Ninarato, Kuno, the Kitchen, the Kuno, the Sancho, the Sarah Butcher, the Kunia, Honey, only near Kevin, Ego, Chiba, Niki Kenaya, and Nishancho, the Sandy, Kunia, Honey, or Sugar, Yatani, or Tomatele, Kuno, Yabuchuro, now, so sure, any Hibashi, Tambi Chute, any Kanya, or that. Jiten de rito mene ba chewa jeso chamba samba tang, jite shema chetan jowa ndowa nichi bedu samba wose, wata de sache de nichi. De nane ta tambudla ya ye chewa chamba ma gombi nemi, gombi pe, chewa tembe lo cheta pe ke sheba, chewa chamba gombi tsulo wose sache hichi. Ta dwense yi nange ta dwense tambudla chewa chamba ma gombi nemi tere. Ta dele ya Chawa Chaba Mago Nimi ki Katulea, Chitsonga Chimbi, Sun Lake Lori Chamatelea, Tense 2 WS. That Tense Tambu the Carres and oh, tell you that. That Tanzi Chara Chawa, the Arato Shigmare, South of Jimbi, that Tanzi Rabat. Long truths on the Kitchi Jibi Church Maimba, Zibute Tazi Chamos, the Tazi Chara Karakari Yimita. And they take a running layer, new pig, Yama Tabo Yichi, the Mat Sangarity, Lam Chenmo, Sikaris, Detara, they tell a Nimble Lambala Juba, La Shidulo Yele, Natabala, Tabazi, Shiduloni, Tambuni Pugoros. Tangaroto, Dawa Jinjoba Jutsa, Lute Cheva, Lute Zamba, Totsara, Toba Lion, and then Lute the choosers of Noa Chini, Lute Lombige, Longo Chaba, Lute Lombige, Nimbo Lamba Laya, and then Nimbo Telem Tua Kita, get the Shindulo, Lord Hero, yes, that ye know the Tobo Tombo, and then Matabalaya, Tabanzi, the Lord Tichani, yes, Matabala Tabanzi, the Lord Telaya, New Chara, yes. The Chara Niche Manita, the Chawa Metabe Catule, and Metaba, the Losho Tanzi Rapadis, Channel, Rapig Metaba, Chewala, Meche, Nabig, Nabatobani, you go, and around the Chewa, the China, Mujechen, Chigimari, Shigimari, Chambig, then the Tanzi Rapate, Naranthole, Chushalia, and the Getchem, which is. Or that the country is Tangaran to swing on Dela, does a Tara Chewaki, number Gula Yachas, Tangaran to touch Shigger, Sassado, Shatan, touch a sound don't shake the Jayu. That's on the Jared Gula Yacha. No matter Deri Meche, Deri Meche, no Le Mechi Show and Ziban, Chida Matsula John also. Shatan Shigger the Jagged. The real share the sound Sony Shigimari, the region, Kadina, Shigimari, John, Jenny, Nitzel Dig, or Tassan John, Tony Magic Pari, Shido Magic Patalia, the name is Shigimari, Shigama Sasson, the sound of the English, or that gets it over the day. That Deliani, or that teacher,
No, as we are so fortunate here today to get this opportunity to listen the very precious teaching of stage of the path is Lamrim, and also very great and chance to practice. Not only listening, it's a very opportunity and very pressure to have this opportunity to practice Lamrim and Dharma. And so since we have the leisure and the precious human life, so this kind of opportunity is very rare. And then we have to know that how lucky we are, and then set up the motivation to listen to the teaching. And also it's not only listening, and to put every knowledge you gain from this teaching is put into the practice. And so please we listen this teaching with good motivation and pure motivation. So as our teaching teaching is since we are in the mindfulness, how important mindfulness to the death, and mindfulness of the death. So for this, there's many subject, falsification of not meditating on it, and then the faults of the not meditating on it, and also the benefit of meditating on it, and how to meditate on death, on death mindfulness. And so from this, today we are in the falls of the, falls of the not meditating on the death and death. So for this, in the Lamrim, there are 6 reasons, what the falsification of not, mind cultivating the mindfulness of the death. So they have 6 reasons. The first one is there's 3 main misconception. The misconception, or thinking the the suffering as the impure is like a pure, and then suffering as a happiness, and then the impermanent is a permanent, and then selfless is as a self. So this is the 4 main misconception that every sentient beings have. And then from among them, for the third one is like the main obstacle of cultivating the practice of death. So this is like we are thinking the impermanent as a permanent. So this is like is every one of us know that one day we will die, but but for this the death's twofold, like impermanent as a permanent, this misconception is true, like twofold. This is the grocery and the subtle. So the grocery is every one of us, if we recognize what's the grocery and misconcept of like impermanent as thinking as a permanent. So this is every one of us have this misconception. For example, we know one day we will going into the die, but when we actual that like by timing and then in the practical level, we think that we are not going to die today, and then when tomorrow come, we can imagine, we can think also, we thought like this, oh, I will not go to die today. And then same as this, you are passing most of the time, and because of that, like we attach to the like many unnecessary things, like unnecessary things is so we are clinging to the material value, and the most of that, like also like thinking, and also like we are passing our the precious time to doing unnecessary things, mainly unnecessary things, like enjoying too much enjoying about the not necessary food, and too much enjoying to not listening to not necessarily like singing and dancing. And so all this came because of the misconception on impermanent, and we think it's a permanent. So so this is the first of the like false of the not meditating on the impermanent or not meditating on the dead. Let's go again, Tusana.
the Tangarato Metapal, the Metapal, Cha Metapal, Tarani, Hilosho, Tanzi Tarani, Tanzi Tamote, 17 Chokolo, and over Patanda, the Tanzi, near Rapat Chavi, so Shigamare, Ramata, Tenda, Shaw, and the chain number the Tanzi Rabach. That day, not to jail Kadu in a year, it's a take near Kandichi Shiga, and that and the Patella German. He number yella maje para de tabilo to Gina send the debilo send the tea like that and the goose over here. Send that on the Dewa Duba, the Duhesi, Tom Bucket, Sen, Jede Shamata, Tabata, Tonje Chambala, also be the Chambo, Dala, number two below machine, challenge below ship, Metelas. That data be my criteria, make a Sonia, make no big. That Michi shows in the what Delia, in a sound, number 10, Matuba, lotti marot gidia lotti auto sono ne tsendele de santonton ge loya kodi ne terile ya ndetan deche ge sani deche ge german deche ge lo german deche ge ti german deche ge santon tsende tsange ne dewa du tsende tsange du ge sei ge to de chonton ne mbetse che ge le se ti to ya santonton kodi tse shema le temps de tse shimi to le san kotu ne tabata tanche chamba la su de chamba tele ni ko lo ka shu res na bata lo mishi challenge lo she metelas do dina tabata tanche chimbi ki shole ya lo shi mishi tse shimi de shebu chungi de tse shimi de ne ge sane ta tse shima la pe bi de chue de to le ni to no che shu ma res tse de chang chang go ko res ota te na garo su ju le meche no be sane te ge ni ne shi ti tambo de res.
Yeah. And for the misconception on impermanent has a coarse and subtle misconception and coarse misconception. So the coarse impermanent misconception lead to the negative doing of negative doing. So negative it lead us to do unvirtuous things, which one is a part of the part of the least person's practice. Least person's practice avoid from this coarse misconception, and then the subtle misconception. Subtle misconception is subtle impermanent. So the concept of the subtle impermanent is a part of the medium person's, missing person's teaching and medium person's practice. So that it helps, us to get away from the from the misconception, and then the misconception of the subtle impermanent lead that human and every one of us towards to doing unnecessary thing in this world, and then it then suffer, it lead to the suffering, and also it's even not give us a chance to think about how importance of liberate from the samsaric existence suffering, and then how to lead, how to liberate from this self clinging and and then, or even don't think about the liberation of the from the samsara and from the omniscient, to how to liberate from the samsara and to gain the omniscient because of this misconception. So the Jeremiah, clearly present here that we have to reflect on meditation of the death, and not only the death, even the subtle impermanent, not only of the coarse impermanent, also like subtle impermanent. So if someone have this concept of subtle impermanent, it automatically it immediate, or it's like natural, or like automatically force us to practice those 10 virtues, and also like practice of not necessary to liberate and to gain the liberation, and then also not only like liberation, to gain the future life, future better life, and the liberation and the omniscient. And that's what
Kesi ta chidang ge ta meche dhambe ge samne shu chenbu yudu chu che wala ge che wa ma tse. Kesi yang chi chu tezi che ke kesi yoba yina jala toba ta samba ta gomba so la shu chang se. Kesi yang chi zhong chen le ya tue sang de dra che, yini yang zhong ge tanda le ya chu sho le ya sang de tezi ta. Yini gomba tezi che wa yina tse deba zang de che tu sumi gyawa che je tu chung ki yis. Wata cha me tabi ki sami de me somba yina, ni gyawa ber kaze juba yina, gyawa tele shu chung chung, nipa chung chung, tse de zang de che tu gyawa juba chi cha liya rima to, shimi de che tu gyawa juba chi cha yuwa ma res. Dea neshe deto dan gyawa juba es. Awa gyawa te tse ya, ta chi tsen de le ya tang hen jan da da, jo pen jo da da, ta tenri ki che tu depa sa yi jo tan je ni cha liya res. Deto dan gyawa juba, nyenju jo tang, Manje bakyo no, so ta tendi ke thesang gosong kandi cheba yina ya, cha mata de desane de meson ba yina, o tendi jawa thangche yo miba chung chung, in nyendu ge jotang, tenche jen de changjang cha de re se, tense o ta somba de tele, ta tense geba tele ya, ta kisi che shimi ge che de ya, o ta tanda ge de thesang gosong cheba yina, che de zang ge thesang gosong re se, ta kisi sha shima le ya chi, check jeba yina geten jete shema la min du tu chu chang se gese sha shema ge check ne te sang gong sun che yin se chi jeba yina du na yang shi ne ri je du bu nam shi ge je le lo go min ge a ne jema che te ne o ta shi ge je ge se shi mi ge check chu te ni chawa me ta ba ma de ba na shi ge je shi ten je ne ni ta mu ba to je ni ta ba ni se de ni ko mu ba sa de ta 소소 친디 샤와창 거 khoachen mubase jemi tangsa de kyachan jeme ge ta ngaracho nache sa de megichu no ge nache o jemi ge ta da zato la su bi nang ye ge kalamba sa tsema ba tse ya ma chang ba lo tinde ge nang ye ge tyun da ne tse shimi gi chole ya ni tsunju chambo beze chembe chige de juba me on se shu chembe ge ton chwe namba ta ba ji duwa de chwe yu ma re so da tse ge ba de But didn't teach it.
Didn't you The third reason, that's the third reason, even someone meditate to impermanent, if we have this subtle misconception on impermanent, even someone doing the work, like doing creating the virtues to gain the rebirth, like to better rebirth, but what the misconception causing is, like creating, bringing lots of laziness, because the misconception, I will not die today or tomorrow and tomorrow day, so so forth and so on. So this bring us lots of laziness. You can postpone the doing great work, the practice, like seems like I will do it tomorrow, or like all day at tomorrow, and later and later and later, and in this way, passing the time, and then it's passing the time, and then at the end, it brings lots of like that when that it's like push the push and postponing the doing good things. So this is the third reason. And then the fourth reason also is saying, because the misconception, not only laziness, sometimes like you can do like lazy, but as a or more about the fourth reason is not only laziness, also the misconception lead us doing some lead us like get more like sleepy, sleepy, like what in Tibetan call with timuk, and then me, but in the sleepiness, and also like Mupa means, not like clearly, like, not very present and present, but it's something like, like Mupa means is something you would, it's a little bit loose like, but laziness, but more than laziness, it's a sleepy and mixture of the sleepy and laziness. And then also like, it lead us to talk unnecessary, speech, unnecessary talk, for example, like interfering someone's business, something like it's lead us because of because the misconception on impermanent, impermanent, and also like it's lead to doing the wrongdoing things. So those are like those all of the like misbehavior, or like misbehavior and the kind of misbehavior leading because of the misconception on impermanent, with the lack of practice on impermanent. So if we have the practice of impermanent, then those like those kind of like unnecessary things will never happen to our like day-to-day action. Let's begin.
That say about the countries and any tetabi Michi Nombi Tabanzi Tanshaw, Michi Nombanzi, Tanzi Raban de la Tene, Tini Seshama Pemi, Chu Muduba Chibi, Getche Batamate, Chu Dubi Getche Batamate, any day la Tene Chadon, Chu Chemuju is. Kanajan Jogo is an attack then Majirum Sungo. Teta Luso Urito, Neso Ray, Cuba Nas. 다 매체 남베게 로테기토는 쳔데데 기치 벤치 시부지다 아니 쳔데게 다운해다 벤조라서 받대초리에 자천부 시부지 통 어데다용데 디토는 네파도 쿠티라서 발라네 데 기천보다 자천부 야부 시부지 다용데 델미는 차바도 어다 다 이동와 게 뭐부터서리 차 이동와 때서리 시동 잡으시기를 이 개시방을 시도 도발을 나와 잡았다면서 어때요? 잡아시. 네 근데 차사 유유 밑에서 때려야 니녀시켰다. 저기 시동 잡아오시. 근데 이게 대답이 차동 그때 저기 대답이 내밀라서비 내밀라 뭐 밑에 못 왔어요. 내미 전통하고 대차기 내미 코트기 내미 산하기 내미 어때서 전통 말이었어. 뭐 밑에 못 대다게 나지에 따서 때는 조pen조다 또지 라서도 될라미네 나지시 근데 이제 소소다 넘버 때서리에 조pen조다 땅에다 요는 차도지 어다 된게 세나라서 된게 돈 근데 너무 슈칭이 차이를 했어 라서도 너무 no mobas, that the Tsai, no mobas, Dacha Conto Maji Mariba Tesopis. Nay, no Massa, the Tinit, Tadagi Nene Nisho, or the Tuso Tapona, Chui Jungle Punju was, that Messichile, no Moshu Chembo, Chini, Amacheba Kadu, initially, yes, or that or Charm Metaba, Medjachin, Nichi, Michin, how with the dancing bead on the, and it said the kitchen in Japan, and no matter to share, yes, okay.
So one of the poets, so the fifth one, the reason, the fault of not meditating, not cultivating impermanent death of the mindfulness on death. So this misconception of on impermanent also the not only like causing to lead you to doing those unnecessary things, also that it will cause you like to the too much attached that you're strong attached to good towards the good things, and then towards good things, and also like create angry like towards that things that you don't like, and things you don't like, and then after then because of that like it's mainly like improving and developing the root confliction, that attachment and anger, and also like when some people gain gain their good quality, your near one, you will to get attached, and then too much attachment, and also it to create the ego, and if someone that is someone far from you, like for example, worldly concern like enemy, so enemy gain the good quality, you will get jealous, and then all these all these six root afflictions is creating, and day by day, because of the because not meditating on impermanent, especially the subtle impermanent. So this is coming from there. So that's why that meditating on impermanent is so relevant and so necessary here, because it's leading all these root afflictions, creating the root affliction, and also like all these unnecessary things. That's why,
that concept to what the color is, and or Teta with the Tanzi Rapa, Meche Nambanzin with the Tanzi Rapa Teletene, that Karsabata, Nisho Mobujin race, that the conditions and Tele Chance, Luta Nata, each Nisho Chutans. Teta Vitanzi Teletene, Luta Nata, each Nisho Chus, usually the numbers on other number getting, how each and also Subanogin, Luke Megawasu, Argue Megawashi, each Megawasu, make it true. Yes, there are now getting some about Samena. Passable, massive, judge of us, the colonies, Tasha, Gedi Eshavas, and Samena. Eta Yawanga dance, Teta Yawanga, the Tanachi, or Chetan Hibata, or then Jota, my judge of Masueta, Chanshu Samba Yeneta, Tobas of the Gendichin, do you come to Toba, Samena the Chabate, Samepa the Chabate, Abba Chetan Jiba, yes, you are, or Tenduchin, or that Chetan Hiba, Chanshu Samba Soba, Gemma Sunjiba, and then Hoban Soa. Any should not go or the digging Yawanga to say around the and yet don't be sure for all said they sound the told in royal day, you don't be sure they teach and made it, don't be sure upon the rest. Don't you know, last of a Migi Gile, never known so much delay in the rest. Never last of the Duma trouble. Migi never signed it, he interpreted never yet that the relation, never last of our Duma trouble. Susu Julia Mamba Machine, the race, Gamma Share. Two people show announced, Nema Reri get changes on balance. Or the Liga Neosom Joy get Joe Chopper Teso. Nema Reri should check by which is. That number levels on the Chuji Dutzel George show. Pan Yomo Tetsu the Nembo or Tetsu. So Somba Telia, Tono Training, 이게 조ሾ다다 제는도이스 추진도 제가 저지 제쇼소 손 노트도 년레지 소제돼서 쉬어다 못이 돌이야 잠바 제용도 아니 제마 타타 메기 샤와 너무 괜찮아 아니 타바타 탄지 친구 법아요 도움도 괜찮아 어따 소나고 제네 내면 참이레스 도움도 참이레스 타바 년도 동해 같이做나서 되니 노슈 가르쳐서 아 메기네 마바사인데 년도 냐와 예다 던던 마셔 대답이 네 동해 예다지 동해 던두기 동해 하정부 수치함보 어따데 같이 做了 차히 예도 명의게 내서 치 냐와 종내서 어따 디세 내서 어느 제시에리게레스 내년에 치바시데스 델레 마루 고치 고겐치히서 근데 예수 뭐 치킨게 딱 고안다보테 어따 메치 넘비게 로데레스 이게 소소레 뇌시 시켜 놓고 델라 타제치 뇌시켄지 속아요 그래서 근데 이게 라니 메치 넘비게 차 메타바 메젠비게 로데 라니레 뇌시켄 놓고다 제부다보 뇌시켄 놓고 때부다보 뻔부다보 조리에서 이자발레 장서 다 이자발사데 나도 더베 아얀다하게 수라 강라 제때 수 나다스 라니 체다 라니 체다 셰메요 그렇지 라니 체다 셰부메스 예데 너 예데 니기 니로나 텔레마루 예치 예스체송바다스 어떻게 가르치면서 어떻게 치닥스는 강라스 제때 수나 다세인데 치다 되게는 제때 순서데 사오 사디 살라수 제때 소리야 네 온주디에스 다 치다를 좀불 토시비 세마네 마네 칸고 봐도 세전 요소 저로 치다가 온도 만들어 지요 말아 뒤에서 방긴 제때 수나 다스 어떻게 라니 치다 다시부 내서도 어떻게 치다 언니 게 무슨 셔바테 치다 게 무슨 아주 많이 시비어리 때 예수는 뭐 동안에 치다 게 시게 말이에요. 어때? 나 하나 말 지지게 소서는 소소게 내사니 어떻게 차게서 어때? 이때 니기 니로 나 텔레마루 제치서 어떻게 다 단다게 밑에 나오네 니 예수리 메시게 코코 유게도 코코데 파 쇼네 니쿠데 데데바이 어타 텔레게 소소소소네 니시와도 소소소소 중라와 소소소소 조파체와 지어요 말이에요. 이 말은 예치 유치선다 당서 텔레 소소네 니시체와 니 소강요 말이에요. 너디나 라니데 미체 나비게 단지 되게 라니레 니시 체크지다 라니 때 돌 되바이나 아니 중 체크 하기래요. 어디지?
Yes.
What are the most what are
Lesson.
the
Yeah. So the sixth reason, how the the misconception impermanent is leading to us is the sixth one is even it's creating the non-virtues that if it's that not only creating the laziness and then hanging around ourselves and on the unnecessary things, but also it's create that it's lead us to doing the 10 virtuous things, 10 virtuous things and the 10 misdeed of the body and speech and the mind. It's we usually call as 10 unvirtuous things, 3 from the body and 4 from the speech and the 3 from the mind. So those are unvirtuous things. And I also the 5 Ds of the immediate retribution. So retribution and also the near retribution. So the immediate retribution is the 5 Ds of the retribution. You immediately lead to the lower lower rebirth or lower rebirth, lower rebirth. So those are the fact, or those are the fruit of the not meditating on the subtle impermanent. So subtle impermanent, and also is if we create those 10 virtues, 10 unvirtuous things, and also the 5 misdeed and near misdeed. So it will, furthering ourselves, distancing ourselves, from the precious teaching and the precious practice, and also leading ourselves to the lower rebirth, lower rebirth, and then lower realm, and then also creating lots of unpleasant, unpleasant place among the our bird. So those are so this is the sixth of the faults of not meditating on impermanent. And then so Chermuchi lists it why also the Arya there was 400 stands also that lead here, what could be more dangerous than to sleep as though it is, and while subject to the Lord of the dead, ruler of the three worlds, himself without a master. So that's give the analogy that that not meditating and in subtle impermanent is like a king that ruling the three worlds. So what that means is that the king has the power to rule those the three world. The three world means the three world is the human world, and then upper deity, and the upper the gold and goddess world, and the lower low world means the lower realm, lower in the animal realm, and the other the hungry ghost realm, and those are lower realms. So this is a three world. So for king of the three worlds, the rule this kingdom, same like the misconception or not meditate on the impermanent, subtle impermanent is also ruling those like a king that ruling his subject. So that mainly is talking, in terms of liberating, in terms of going away from this samsara, from this kingdom. They need the ruler, the king. They have to run away the king. And same like this, if we didn't want to liberate from the samsara, so we need to liberate from the misconception of the not meditating impermanent, misconception on impermanent. So that's why they're impermanent. So this is a Arya Dewa, Arya Dewa's, coded here. Let's go, Jana.
Wata ayanda ji sung teno ta chechu sung den renda ta tetsi gaji. Ta teni shunju chemu no tangche pote cha gyuba daki te ta ma xe nen zata minzi tuanchi shi depa namba nazo hi sung soos. Ta nga ran tsu ta chi shimdu de tangche ja nin ro gu yore. Tangche ja den ro gu yoba ina ya te yoba ha ma go chi zata manza sa de tumbo ta tumbo ma yenga 다치 다 차사가 유담 당사가 유대적인 체도 아니 대판 넘버 탄소식이 요래스 어떻게 제요 말에서 계속 소서 때다 전체 주대 다 갈로그다 데려도 저 마고 비게셔데 차 맞다바 마고 비셔데지 나 네바텔 사체 네바텔 아니 차와 맞다바 전 공비게 배야 될이야 전체 숨이요 다 전체 손도 담보 가르래서 전다 하장부 첨부래서 전다 첨부 내 간래서나 나위 첨부리 chewa jesu trebe lo nema ki shena pe na teri san rang chewa ta choba na chu chu go tentu yoba yenche la ne ta zela soba to do so me ba ton ya da la seba doji ton ala su be kon nimbo len de penche la mo gun jo ta re se tipe ate kande re se na maro ta chewa meta ba de chi lo ya bu chi ne ma chi wo ne chi lo ya bu chi she ba yin na ni pe de ka ja zen deri sa rang chewa ta chu ba de da soni deri soni no ni chi she me ne ba chi soni no ni no chu she wa ta chu ken ka ne ba chi yo ba yin na de le chu chu go ten tu yo ba yin che la se de de yi ne ba na ta Jopa Hikamagi Kanza Tele, Chubu Guate, Yama Dege, Susuki Neta, Ni Susuki Jo, Jalakara Yabatelia, Ni Soso da Yuribu now to George Mapa, now to Kin Yuribu Doji Mapa to Kyoton Salis. Any Tetulia Chapa make a champions, Jala Himbo make it on the dollar Sepan Dochi. When it don't go set that Jala Tetu Mabas of that Sosu Sani Noni no to hear Nichala Tetu Yarte Marche Geopolis. The dollar Sepan do Tonala Subi Gon Himboland, Henchel and Morgan Joatas, that Himboland, Kaza Momuchi, and the Shaking do us a bit dinner again. And then I wrote to Nekota, Tabala Soban, Jeteji Chuji Shire. Beba Tanchi, Biba Shawata, Nimbo Mabata, Suduji Nesu Tony and Yes. Watangaro to Chow Metaba the two Jutasani Apo, Chetani, Rajulia Chow Metabi Sani, Nema, Chamachi in Shet two Sombayina, and it said again, Nekota, Nekor said the Yankee socially at Jupejo Jali, Yankee socially at Sinjo Lasoba, and this also get a door. Yanji Suzuki Juchala, Combat and Mojata. Tendeke se tangwe la soba tetsu le jitengi chuji shiles beba tanchi tetsu ki cheto pa kaule shebe jawate ingara tsu tonto gi biba shawa se tonto ge njuki ta papa de ya debe machi ya shayu de kom ma kaze chena ndu moma de yo mara papa chamba le biba shawa ni timbo me patas da na ki fuju ji ne su tone se soso den goko tongi gi leka rabu cha den tongi se cha mata pa de sani abu ko Neshe le do chis, ta dipi gi shawale ya do. Gole ya ni cha medempi gi shenetele ya ni megicho chame na yawa nga lo soba yodu suso. Ta cha meta ya buji kamba ina ni megicho le do chame nga gi shawale do yawa nga gi shawale neshe le do chi. Shao son do ata teni kyuncho le ya shandu chen gres. Ga na gi Tsuchi la su de le zamba na ta ta ta, tsuchi zamba se pele na, ta megicho de panyo de, megicho panyo tsuchi, o ta, dewa nyangi de genye juwa ta, yemi gitsu genu juwa la soba, teme chin le zamba na, ne ka du yin na ye chen yu le, sta to ta. Gyupa shi ki tsuchi chi, ta chwe le, gyupa yubi ke tobi, metsawi ze sonjo sobu ki jiba, ta chi pa tabi ko, metsawi ki ji gombo dabo himbo mewa de, luiten deli ya himbo lama, go cheke chene, tambi chu, himbo tamba laune, ane gopa tamba rani ze tese, tash gopa tamba, taba ta tanchi chimbi langa liya, shewa jema ngoto ta tambi ki gopa liya, ze saden rogu liya, rani ze te, roa nocha, te tibe na se, ta rani teli ya roba tsa ma ze, yen me momba liya, ane tambi chu ye, o tambi yen pe du, o tende chini yen da momba ya, ane taba ta tanchi chimbi ki langa liya, titu liya, tibe na, teli tencha chigi sa, ta teli ni, tenda chawa da, go chua, go chobo, o penko chenbo, dunde zambo, tela taji kari liya, chihi, hi she pe deme, ate so, o tiba chihi, wa.
That's right. Yes, and also the like lackness or like the faults of the not meditating on impermanent. Also, it's the from the engaging in the bodhisattva deeds. It says, "I will have to depart, leaving everything, but not knowing this, I committed various sins." For the sake of a friend and foes. So that means, even we know that, we know that one day we will die, but not mindful, like to the mindful every day. So that's why, because of not knowing this, we are die, like we can't die today or tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And we can die immediately because of not knowing this. So it's lead, various sinful work to us, to our friends and our enemy or our foes, like towards our foes, we create a lot of attachment, like anger and jealousy and other misdeed. And then toward our friend, always like attachment and ego, and towards, like this misdeed. So that's so those all of this, that are the faults of not meditating on impermanent. So now here, so this is the 6 week completed, and now the benefit of meditating on the cultivating the mindfulness on death. So that is what mainly is talking here is, if we cultivate the mindfulness on death, so we will gain the concept, or we will die today. We will die today, and we will die, tomorrow, or tomorrow we can die, immediately. So for this kind of mindset, reduce the craving, craving on like good things, craving on unnecessary things. So the craving those unnecessary things, and also craving this human rebirth, human rebirth. So mainly is leading to us, we will think like not only human rebirth, also we like liberate from the samsaric existence of suffering. And so and not only like this, also mindfulness on death, if someone have authentic like mindfulness on death, that you can see that how the worldly things is like valueless, like kind of like for example is material value, and also someone how the worldly concern fame, fame and respect, others respect. Usually, with human nature, we are attached to like fame and respect and wealth and good look. So if we have the concept of like impermanent, mindfulness, meditation on death, so that's, you can stop those, paying attention and focusing on those like unnecessary things, like fame and fame and the good looking and the wealth, and that, so those are the it seems like our human nature, to attaching to that, but it's not like our nature from innate. It's because of the misconception and not like having authentic mind, authentic mindfulness on death. So after furthering ourselves from those, focusing from those, unnecessary things, it immediately ourselves will turn away from the wrongdoing, and also like it's put like we can like constantly put effort to take refuge and maintaining like ethical discipline. The ethical discipline is doing like in terms of the ethical discipline is as we have like the precept of taking refuge, and the precept of monastic precept of like if you are like upasika, you have a precept of upasika, and if you have a monastic, you have a certain precept. And if we have like the bodhicitta mind, wow, then we have this precept. So like it help us to put energy and effort to protect those precepts, and to ethical discipline, to create to follow the ethical discipline. And not only like this, also like it will be like significantly help us, like reduce the suffering. And then so that the closing ourselves is more close to the teaching and to the practice. So what the Chedambachi says, that, how wonderful, how could be more meaningful than this in this world, like if some single practice is leading all these, like goodness and good things, like meditating on impermanent. So what other thing like more meaningful than this one? So this one is Chedambachi is like strongly, like asking to us. Thank you. Lasso Yena.
Ishiri peto me chamate se ta cha me tapa de lo de rojuli ya bu sha tu mu tu ta de ta de lo de rojuli sha ba yina ni den to chenbo ya ba de ale kong du shu ba no ji za ma ce pe ba ni na ya ni ta ra tong ya le sa mi pe le ba ka de se na ne de ba chenbo do le Shimoa Tanchi Nana, Denjulo Chogo, Jia Tanchi Nana, Balangi Chogos, Dai Hinga, Marato, Dai Himba Tete, Hinga Lea, Ni Mogu, Dai Himbo in the Denka di Hin, Rosa, Hinga Bonani, Yakut, the Dinogi, Sani Tonton Noni, Yakut, the Hit Noni, Charm the Tabi in the Hit, the true did. Azalea Chogas. When now give J. Tanche on the Balon J. Chogos, balance of the dog, Lombachain, the medium number using. Or they did Combi G. on the Lombachain G. That J. Chechu, Zishu, or Tichayas. That thing you don't cut it is a little. How about Tommy get that number done? Or that Lombachain G. The Yeda. Jota Yata, Bada, Longo to Jele, Lombachi Jet, Champion, then I'll get the topic in the head Jachawa, Shul and Judy, you go, Champichi Chayuta, Nipalong Jet and Lombachi Jet. Yes. On the head Tanjit Mana, Metapa the tea in the head, true in this, then the head Sanada, Sonnet on the long year, I heard the Metapa Jamba, Chawa Metapa Jamba, or didn't it true, yes. Libi Jessa characters in Deda Kenny, Consuji Daba, Maripa the Majet of the Cellular, Consuji, Dacha, Maripa Tonje, Dani Majet Tonje, the Charm Tabisani Tomba, never exactly set to the execution. He get on Yomo about the never showed at home, Chichajo to Toatas. Tangara to Toas at the day, Madum Sajura, or then I'll get a Yomo about the never showed at Tonje, no man never really. No good, Charm Tapa Santo Materials. Gele Tonji Chicha Duban Gochambes, but Gochambo Yasana Michuchanga, Nando Zitura. They now gain the Gawa Mambo Tonche, Medichobon with Sujela, Gawa Mambo, Nojule, Nandoya, Nichi shit two again, Godna, Gochincha, which is Charm Tapa, Jambi, the Sound, Godina, Gochincha, Gochinchi. Chamberton is got chamber chobala so the John Papa was totally John that's all this about Sanjay Sun Tigger, what did it? That's only learned the Zani Gawa Tojaki means it. Come around to the Zopon de Zami didn't hurt a law. Sag Zorge Zami didn't hurt a law over this. But it is an Zami didn't hurt the Cha Chocho, G Chocho. Or the Tolan Rocho Channel, or Tenor giving another to Zobo the channel. Yes. Take it Chana, Hijun, Dakinis, or that they know you get Zobo the Zaman or you charge to G Chocho, you know, you get Shilling, Tachi, trip under Jim by you know, no, it is. Hijun, Hijus at the Chicale, Saw Chamber, they call it the Lera Patay on the trip about the good the kitchen door, absolutely the tone with door. Then he just said, "Oh, that he should double say. But he should the trip now in Hana, earlier trip how your mother. Over Taji Part that the chip partial money to you be so now. How do you have it? How I know you for your money is how I know you about it. Now how I know you is what did you metal sending did you bas or that did you metal said or that did it. Or that you got on shoot and not just said that's it. Dacha now, Naja down Tetulia, Nindaki, Metal said the Zus, the chat. Or the data big metal in that the Chawa Metava Sani Tomba in a teacher to yes, they change at the levels of this. Cheddar Jibby, time never goes. What did it? And then I wrote to the region, Tree Apple, Johnny, and that's happy the Cobatos and Chidagi, Sosolia, Nashia, Pariponga. Diamutu Chizotu, yes, true. I won't do Chaw Matapa, Sana, Gawadu, he to the church, Hijit on the Hibit on the Rangim of a hit. Then they get gone only chain, Tabatos by you and no more people turn game with no ship. They told the Chedagi Jebe in a so trouble to can. Ata also to a Pariponga, neither Tamaka, and did you come Sanjay Kobo to yes, what then and over this? A share dance. Gawa Tonki is Nature Doge dance. Ota gawa said gai dunges. Gai dunges at the Paris. Naron the share sound in the kitchen and jido in Telia gawa lower. Gai dunges. Tanga so gai dunget the lair have to mother. Rapper Rapachi. Gawa tonki. Nechi dunget said the Tangarato. Chin got the lapa, the Kambala, so but what dunget then I suppose. Take Narotuno so nechi dungeta. Set up to hear a tone in this. 내가 나로 죽겠지 깨지고만 진도 내 나서 나 탈이야 이 힘들게 됐어 세당 루카진 나오셔도 쉬어지만 만들고 지 쉬어 통되네 에서 때문에 저런 자이 진방지에서 어떤 때게 처음에 따부터 상내 돈이 나름 어 정kon자도 어떤 정코 두자 너무 두자고 정코 따비게 코이기 치인데 다 텔레야 타바 제거해서 어떤 치방네스 제때 페바 니 치방 저런 자이 치방지 제때 페베 녀방 뉴레켄스 계속서 다 템리게 돈이 치방네 로도 쇼네 니 추도네 타바 타비 거버 토고는 나도 제때 페바 제네 15 되네 되네 아니 타바 처음에 타투 말레스 어떤 제때 페베 dopon dire façon depuis que donner de bon train tout mal qui sont so what that is débattu
And also the benefit and the benefit of the mindfulness on death is not only the meaning, but also it's a phrase from praise by from the scripture. Buddha's from the scripture also gave lots of example to praise the mindfulness on death. So that is the one scripture called Great Final Nirvana Sutra says that among all reaping the autumn harvest in supreme. Among all tracks, the track of the elephant is supreme. Among all ideas of the ideas impermanent and death is supreme, because with it you eliminate all the attachment, ignorance, and pride of the three realms. So that is as a scripture, as a scripture, quoted here. So what it's saying is, I mean, the all track or imprint of the hand, all the animals, like among the animals, like imprint of the hand is, the biggest, and then the biggest one is elephant hand imprint. Same like perception, same like aspiration. So there are so many aspiration for a practitioner, and even we have like lots of aspiration, to wanting to do. And wanting to do and wanting to practice, for example, wanted to practice to like bodhicitta mind, wanted to practice on like wanted to meditate on suffering, and wanted to meditate on like two noble truth, so the wandering and then the clinging, or like the aspiration, to wandering. So this like perception is the impermanent. So the idea, like many ideas we have to practice, so among those, all of the ideas impermanent is the supreme. And because so why the idea of the impermanence is supreme? Because it's eliminate all this attachment towards your near one, and the ignorance, and then pride to like your pride, and also like anger. So all this misconception is like stop and eliminated by the idea of the impermanent. And similarly, so this is the meaning, and also the similarly of this meaning, and also the collection of the inactive verses also say understanding that the body is like a clay vessel, and similarly that phenomena are like marriage. Here you destroy the demons, the poisonous lower tribe weapon, and passed beyond the sight of the Lord of the death. So what this is why this give is the Lord death. The death, meditate on death is kind of Lord, because when you meditate on the death impermanent, so it's the poisonous of flower striped ribbon. That is analogy. So they gave the analogy is a ribbon is like anger and attachment, striped ribbon. So when we practice the impermanent, so that basically is give this example is all this phenomena, what we imagine and what we perceive, what we perceive is like a marriage is like instantly changing, and then like it's not valuable, but there's no value. It's constantly changing and constantly creating lots of unnecessary things, and so there's no value. But meditating on mindfulness of death is like different. It's very valuable, and it's immediately like stopping all the poisonous of the flower, poisonous of flower flower, attachment and anger and all this. And also there's another quote, like, so by seeing aging and suffering of sickness and death, dead bodies from which the mind is gone, the resolute abandon this prison-like home, while ordinary worlding and can never eliminate the attachment. So this is saying, like when we don't have, meditate on the death, so it's seeing the similar like before, the seeing the suffering of aging and suffering of sickness, and then dead bodies from which we mind is gone. The resolute abandon this prison-like home. So our body is we are like a prison, right? We are like a prison, and our body is like a home. So it's hard to leave, from this home. So if we meditate on the death impermanent, so there is no attached, because we are attached too much to our body. In ordinary people, attached in our beauty and our shape and our body, and trying to keep this, okay, in this case we can keep our body, healthy, but many of us, too much attached to our body, and then we have to see the suffering of aging and suffering of sickness. But if someone, can meditate on that can eliminate attached to all of this, and then it's so this is we cannot do by ordinary persons. So we cannot compare ourselves to the ordinary people. We need, as a practitioner, we need to do, away from the ordinary people, and then we can avoid from the ordinary people. So that is the benefit of the meditating on the mindfulness of death. Let's do it now.
Oh, that just about Nipa Chawa Gombi Pants at the Catolia, Tambo Chawa, Mataba Jambi, Gombi Kipe, Telia, Dun Chawa, Dun Hatangu Chambre, Sepate, that's a Tambo Sunset, Dun Chelu Chetan de Conde, Jihia Davich. And then, that Prince Township going by this way, that's a debate, Donna Shebi Third between it, they Chabaja to between the corner years. Tangaronso Seche Yoduchoge, Naron Susi Gute, Jupige, Coco Zamfio, the Lute Zambo Tawaje Java Chutan, Lute Zambo the Lambiki, Tolia Kona de Mato, Jan Coco Yamares, Oke Penche Nyandu Dechis, Naronso Seche Yo, won't check you there. Nyandu de Dires, the Lambayina. Ta lo jal tabun tsamba ina, ta kiba ina, kiba jal tsamba ina, ta kiba guchu kogu de naran tsu nesung de yo. Ta dendro le ya kiba chiza de yo. 근데 이게 뭐 치료를 되죠. 이 어떤 연구를 돼. 근데 중세를 못 잡지. 계세 타타 메이게 샤와 때지 안바 있나요? 몇콘 비즈니스 시체 돼요. 밀리 안바 있나요? 다 대화 제조가 책상 밑에 말아지. 몇콘 비즈니스 시체. 어떤 몇콘 비즈니스 시체. 근데 콤비네이션 시에 손바이는 아니 추두비게 거거요 하나 추두비 거면에 아주 추두비 거거요 하나래서 당나라 전장님 디토 메동수 더지던로 여러 추두비게 거거요게 추두게 가자도 따바이나 하정도 누구라 어떤 때를 상도나 따다하고도 밀리남바이나 아니 하 밀리남바이나 하 펜차도 소소쇼 근데 차대 달라고다 콤비네 차대 어다 거면이라 두배 추비 때래 토바나야스 달 추여사 남비기 추다사 어다 추 두토케기 텐데 밀리 지거거 랑유레스 토나야 추 추게도 무두바 추 지마지 바 남바 타바지 두투로 마르스 다 두부투어 갈제여서 다도 매체 나반델라 투도바네 매체 데리어 매체 사니야 매체 나비게 처와 메타베 마덴베 처와 메타비게 로쇼게 매체 완진비게 아니 로로토 딜레 투디어레스 투베나 르 매치 쇼인진바니에서 다텔 로기 데리어 매체 사니야 매체 쇼인진반 규바 규주 고타스 다 규바 사데 만냥차 로게 야마데레스 규바 사데 냥차로 냥차 통체 야마 자와 고타부데레스 디 nembo telea meche nambo lo di nembo te kal 제거서 chawa tengo es chawa tenban peso soba tangche ge go yin so da don de ja da peso soba tangche ge go chayo mo do ne ko da ta to ta ba da tangche cheba ya da cha chong de cha me da ba tenbi sani tela tene chen she mo je do de ji bo da ne ba de a to se sumba telea
Did you
얘네
do
야
that?
니 따따
So as the benefit of the um cultivating the mindfulness on death, the Jeremiah has two. So the great benefit and also the great benefit and the door of the all the well-being. So we have done the great of the benefit of the great, and then now here is the meditating on mindfulness. The mindfulness of that is the door of the all the well-being. And so why? So since it's very hard to gain the leisure and opportunity life that's we can easily imagine among that's like 6 RAM, so where which sentient beings attain to the special life like the leisure and opportunity. So like it's very in only human we can say like gain the special life or leisure and opportunity among human. How many of them has the opportunity, the quality of leisure and opportunity life is very rare. We can see clearly imagine because many of the human, there's a lower rebirth and higher rebirth, and then higher rebirth in human and the God realm. So even for the God realm, they don't have the leisure, time to practice and time to practice the Dharma and time to study the Dharma. So only we human have this opportunity, like the leisure, time to practice, to teach, to learn and to study the Dharma and to practice the Dharma. But within the human, how many of us has this like a time to study? Many are like many are don't have time to practice, and many of them not only having time, they even don't have the like opportunity of the environment. So that's why the precious human life is very rare. And then this that this in this point that's rare. And this one, so we have the chance to practice and the teaching and to then practice. So especially that that's practice of death, mindfulness on death. So mindfulness on death, it lead us, to, the source of the teaching. And then also it says the remedy for this mindfulness, the source of the all deterioration, and the remedy for this the mindfulness of death, the source of all the excellence. So the consequently, so why it is source of the excellent? Because if we meditate on the mindfulness of death, that mainly it save our time to thinking and to attaching and to attaching on the unnecessary things. So that's why this is the saying that meditating on death is the door of the door of the virtuous things, and then wealthiness, and the wealthiness, because it leading ourselves, furthering ourselves from the all the misdeed and also mainly focusing on the focusing on the teaching and focusing on the practice and focusing on, instead of focusing too much in the external things, focusing more internal things, what you can do and what you can, improving your practice, to gain, to liberate from the samsara and to liberate, to gain the omniscient. Thank you. That's all, Yela.
나 전체 손바테 제총가 받치면 어쩌리야 반대면나 누나가 저 처음 나타봐도 거로노 세테 하참 기천들에 세다 된다 뜻이야. 거리죠. 이 시를 내다보라 최상무에 공주 매바 나치 나네노 나바도 공자 이자 담부 준서 장공바 샤이 준비 나네 또 메서 나도 메소 근데 토타 봐서도 귤루라 예바 니타바네 셰도 공바 샤오 나 가르에서는 저체 공도야 되네 내가다 타도 강을 되네 이나야 아니 처음 봐봐 공바테 기체를 시도인다 어다 대신 내서 통제고 조사고 고타고 이제 저체 뒤시나 아니 다 처음 봐봐 잠깐 될이야 최상무에 공주 매바 놓지 나를 리서치 자야 맞아 같이 된데 되게 열었어 다 처음 봐봐 잠바데 최상무 셰린다 조리다 된데 고 미셰케테 공주를 맞고 아따 셰리 조리 나오기 아따 샤자 참바 나오기 어때가 나오기 그 조바 참바 나오기 강셰케테 되는데 강고 말에 상상 어때를 자야 말에서 공샤다 리장 담부 때때 강고에서 공샤 이장 담부 중세서 공마샤이 준비 나래도 메어서 나도 무서웠어 담부 때때 강고를 처음부터 강고 뒤주때 나네치 고아 말에서 처음부터 비토리아 상내 땅고 말에서 어때를 자야 말에서 나는 갑자기서 this 처음부터 게 강데 어따 담부 추기 토마야 기차 고타고 나도야 기차 어따 나로서 기지 전부 통다 바수를 기체서 나오게 처음부터 공부할 토마 기초와 바도 기초 타마 기초 통다 바수도 아니 동그리스 줄을 예뻐 니타바도 셔도 가면서 생데 뛰냐 텔레야 내셔서 이치체 제는 건 처음부터 가로나 서터 지금 지금부터 나로서 벽이 나왔다 근데 타마
Somebody Rajala.
네.
So the in the third one is, I think, the kind of mindfulness of the dead you should develop. So here is some people have like misconception that practicing on death of the mindfulness is not necessary for like for someone if someone practicing like a generate the generate part of the tantra and then complete part of the tantra, so it's not necessary any for the like for those higher practice. So it's not like this. Jorim says it's the door of the all the well-being, and especially it's not separate from other practice. And so for this like Cherimbuch says, and also it's it's importance. We know that false of the not meditating on mindfulness of death, and then the benefit of the mindfulness on death. And then now here, how to and meditate on mindfulness of death. So for this, it's a by like like the how to say is this range, range meditate on mindfulness depth, like smaller portion and then medium portion and then like higher. So this is saying it's in the third realm. That's what Jalan.
다 사체 손바들 손바 차와 드행이 뭐 제다부히 시작하는 세상에 그때 사체 때기 단도도 도도는 가려서는 다 나라서 이제 콜레야 차와 나타바 쟁글에서 뭔가 손바 다 차와 쟁비게 로데 라주레야 간디지 고그레서 다팅 뮤지요 다데 내라 소발라 차바테비 온게 대다도 제치 도니 차바샤와니 라라 예 마저이 차와라 짜루인데 근데 늘 대시하바니 메노스 어때서 다 가르쳐 지 마셔 소바이나는 소수게 빈빈체 작세로 내내데 대처다 카트리를 상상전에 어떤 대처를 차바요가 내내데 빈빈체 대처를 차바 슈천도요 디온 대다다 카트리를 상상전 잡아셔야 주요라 대려 잡아셔야 돼 근데 말아서 라올이야 지 호종 최리야 호종 최리 맞게 ken게 가자 대처요 chiwa trayu amese de tralu te kode cha mata ba san tong su de mare so shaba ni no wana kai na na so wana kode kandi chi guru sa le ta nyo mo go onge ni lamba tongche ne pa chiwa la bande bes ta le chi onge le ta nyo mo onge lu lambi ge ta me ta dondo yida nyawa la so ba lu lamba yon so do tongche 탈에 네바도 치와를 만들어서 네바도 시키면서 내가 잡아서 장스 내가 잡아서 장 저희랑 가미니메스 어때 왜 전제대 힘이 된 연주 좀 보다 것도 때문에 저 마주바 치와라 집어 사대에서 어때 치와라 만데 나는 내가 잡아서 시 초고에서 잡아서 저희랑 가미니메스 다 내가 지고 레터 너무 오기 시작이 때 기차이 내가 좋아요 말이었어. 이나 가르쳐고서는 잘루자도 제가 레터 너무 오기 시작하면서 다시 그거를 기차 될 짜나 배도요 말아. 요 말에 근데 짜도 가르쳐서 여전 지대 힘이 돼. 년주 중고 받다. 다시와 심말에 시작될 때 년주리야 메셔라고. 년주리 시 저도 파까 저도 파까 아니 라타 미기 밀랑 주도 주 모토탄 타바도 ton치치비 고고 토지 주도 어따 덴비게 나로서 주 녀송로 저기 주도 파 ป้녀송로 주 무투 먼저 아파 무조아체 어따 덴비 시기 주 무조아체 덴비 시 주도 주 무투 어따 타바도 ton치 주 무조 덴비치니 시소바이나 다 페사사레 제네 어텔을 잡고 근데 어떤 처음에 따라서는 또 잡아시지 된게 상황이 또 잡아시지들이에요. 맞아. 시당가 신도 잡아시지들. 그래서 수수님네 그 카트에서 된게 잡아시지들. 그래서 다시 그 때키를 신나의 예수의 조 파파 겨 하다 미 타바 통지 진비 조 주기게 주주 거거쇼 마소서 데 주주 마트나 페사르 상상 된게 잡아시지들. 어때 제때 심이 때 년주 좀 보바다 뭐또 년에 좀 마주바 쳐와라 집아차데 근데 제 주주 무투와지 시송바 페사르 때 잡아시지들. 집아차데 엘라네 데 잡아서나 데다 주도 유베스 치카 마트와 샤요라서 어때 된게 상네 방네 딱 예송고 내 예송을 미시기 주 탑 덴드시 주주 예송고 시와데 파빵 어따 덴데 지야진 시송을 빼사를 전에 단다 상네 거의 근데 잡아티 시바이네 근데 단다 티치투어서 년줄 미시기 다 년줄 시 주도 파까 덴드시 주도 주이게 뒤서요 컴바요 롱요데스 치카 마타 덴데 전에 단다 덴데 제바 제마 치카 말에 마타가 차스 어때 치카 마타바 샤요라서 셰문에 시카말네 짜주 매게 따따 조투스 데테다 마주 나서 년들시 기주 파파 dendro she jut madu achi madu na she koale mata she do koale ya mare she teki chabato nyeso tonale jines ota chi tse jebe do achi dele jene ni ta she ne teki sa de she kama no trahi no pra longi jini she de les jopa she ginji jebe do achi des ta de kutele ne shero tono shero les roto drinja ane minutes quand la tue son moron tan jiki ngaba sheba is tela pemba chiki yos wote detan jete lata na mena dipa shebe joban jo ge ne to lepa yoma je shimi tsela domen jo to chewa chubi jibe moban jo quand le daki yin jojo wa tini daki sheba yom je kabo lecha yoto komba she shela nena chi suki ji xie sumba tawang sa ta ti tanda kare le se na ta naro tsu lene ke onge shewa lang tsai je le je roto jin chang wang ta kani toke tseba ina shim matu fe zoa yo roto jin chang wang ne mi nisa me che wa che ne de tu jite to le me che wa che de tu quand tu son moro se yindi ta zoya marisa quand me che wa zoya es tu mas ote niapa de chi dos ji che no wa sheba yi dela pamba chi de che ne te ki sare ta che wa dela ya traba che ne ni pedo yo maris dela pamba chi ki yos detan jite la chuni lata na se de do shi ge ta de le ne che au ge shawa long cai ge se je tang che ge chuni le se che ga de pa ta yu de ta ka ri re sa na men na dipa che be joba jos ta dipa che wa job res ge wa joba le ya to che men na dipa che be joba jo ge le che le pa yo ma je o shi mi cha la do he jo to o ta to te ta shi la te che re te ni dipa ge wa joba le ya to se che ge wa ju depa pawale joba che depa paw gyawa dupure te maji che depa che gyawa madu che ba joba che yes tene nyeso le ya she shimi tsala dongen joto to tse shama nyeso le she ane dongen joa go toba she chewa ji jibe moba josa ta chewa le ne yu de traba le yes ta tene toke yo ma reso le dani yin jojo tini daki sheba yom dresa ta ti tanda ne pa ta hi ge jiba te ge chi ji dije meke o tende cha ge res di le teni ta jentu ba res sha jema le su na sha na ma nge de ba de che yo ma ka bu le cha ro to komba shes ta Ota tsendele depate ya ten tel joba chi dipi shu sauna moko ni geile yang yang tato komba cheba yina chula nena chi suki ji sa tenege dipo gedu ya u chene ma ni cheba yina ni chewa le ya chagwa yo ma res chula nena chi suki ji sa ten tabe tambi che ya u che dun ni che somba yina chewa le ya chagwa che yo ma res che somba taonse ota te chi je
Yes, yeah. And did you any share shagila? Do you seem so?
le ya o ya ni te
So here in the third subject is like what kind of mindfulness of the dead you should develop. So here, so Cherimodimani is saying, so we have all of us have a fear of death, fear of death. So that's meditating on the fear of death is not so fear of death is not not the not the meditating, we have like fear of death to, ourselves to fear. We have fear to lose our body, and also we have fear lose our parents and our near one. And so those are thinking, every day thinking, one day I will lose my body, and one day I can lose my parents, and one day I can lose my near one and friend. So those fear are not meditating on death. Then what is the what is the meditating on death? So that means, like since we in this world, since we being born by the karma, negative karma, the karma and afflictions, the karma and mind afflictions, there's no way to stop the death. So there's no way to stop the death. So death is kind of nature. So kind of nature. One day it will come. So that's why there's no way to stop the death. So that's why there's no point to worrying and to get fear about the death. So that's why if someone get fear on the death, so this is not the meditating on death. Then what is the meditating on death? So that's why. So the death. When we meditate on the death, every birth on this in this in this world, every sentient beings is being born. So when we take rebirth, so there's a 3 realm to go, and the lower realm and the higher realm and the human realm. So all this birth. So if we really need to away from the death, we have to control to birth, to control, to like stop to birth to the lower realm, and then miserable realm and lower realm. So for this we will think what causes, what kind of causes to lead to the lower rebirth and miserable birth. So thinking on this, and then thinking on this, and then so when we think about it, and then the lower birth and the miserable birth is coming the causes of doing unvirtuous things, and the attachment and anger and affliction and the misdeed. So for this, if we try, if we think, like the death will come, and when it's come, the next is rebirth is coming. So rebirth is to trying to stop the causes of the rebirth, into the lower realm and miserable realm, and then trying to gain the higher rebirth, and then the leisure rebirth. So this is the kind of meditating. So meditating on the death or the mindfulness. So when we meditate this, every day, every morning and every evening and every single time when we have the time, meditating on this and trying to stop, all this misdeed and negative afflictions, the causes of the lower rebirth. So when the actual death come, then we don't have that much fear, because we already, it's familiar with our mind, and also the concept, or we know there's no way to stop the death, but there's a way to stop, to go the lower rebirth. So that is the meditating on the mindfulness of death. So here the garland of the birth stories, birth stories also says there's though you hold the past, you cannot stay. What benefit is there in being frightened and scared of what cannot be changed? So, and thus, when you analyze the nature of the world, humans are regretful and at death because they have sinned and have not brought forth virtuous action, and they worry about the suffering to come in future lives, and the fear of the dying clouds the mind. And however, I do not know of anything I have done, and that would make me regretful. And I have made myself then accustomed to virtuous action. They would anyway abide in the teaching fear death. So in these stanzas, the first stanza is sharing that fear, that to get fear to losing your like near one, and to yours to the death is not meditating on death. It's you cannot change death. So that is not meditating on death. And the second one is saying how to it's showing the how to meditate on the death. So when we meditate on death, we think what we have done in the past. If we have done the negative karma, we have negative deeds, and get a regret and purify all this misdeed, and then create a new. If we have virtuous things we have done, and rejoice all this all this for the good, and also like like set a motivation to do more virtuous things, to stop the low rebirth. And so this is the actual, so the meditating on the rebirth. And then also it says, the last stanza also is saying that, however, I do not know anything about done, and what would make is regretful, like. So that mainly is meditating on the stopping the causes of the low rebirth, and causes of the miserable birth, and causes of and causes of the rebirth. Is trying to stop the causes of rebirth is the meditating on the mindfulness of the death. Any, so time is off, so we are going to stop here.
Okay, Tashi Delay Anila, my class is ended, so I'm able to join everyone now. Could I check, would it be possible for the Kamsen or yourself to help us look for another translator who could help us to continue with the teachings?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, gela ani di jene puzu geju shimbaji raso ani mutune ani kachu naroji sungudu gela.
No, yes. Did you call last song with that?
Laon.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so Ken, is it Anila?
Yes. Yeah, I translated. So will I do this prayer?
I can. My lesson's over, so I can
Okay.
continue with the prayer. But mainly, what we hope is that Geshe-la can continue with the Lam Rim classes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we will need a translator to stand in while you are away. Could I check how long will you be away from India?
Okay. So I will be away until August 20.
So you are in the United States, or what other area will you be at?
So I will in United States a very short time visit. I will back from United States on 14 on 16th, but I have attend to the Keshima exam.
Oh,
So it is starting. We have to get it there and like June 24.
oh.
So from there, it will take almost 2 months for the Keshi exam.
Right. I see. So, Anila, if possible, we hope we can help. We can have a translator that by from the Kamsen or yourself can recommend some good qualified translator for us. We really hope to be able to continue with the teaching with Geshe-la. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I also will see, if some nuns can translate.
But the nun must be as qualified and as yourself.
Um,
Oh, okay. So we'll make the mandala offering now. Okay. So Singular is very unwell, so that's why he's not able
sorry.
to come. Okay. So we'll make the prayer now. All right. This ground is anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, sun and moon, visualizing as a Buddha feel are all fruits so that all beings may enjoy this pure rite. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kani Raya Dayami. In the snowy mountain paradise, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful dancing Gyatso Chinrezi. May you stay until samsara end. Praying for our teachers' perfect health, praying for our teachers' ageless life, praying that their works will grow and spread. Bless me never to part from them. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha, so that I may also be able to bring all beings to this very enlightened state. May the precious Buddha mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. As the blessed Buddhas of the past are dedicated, as the blessed Buddha presently existing is dedicating, as the blessed Buddha of the future will dedicate, I also humbly learn, follow, and dedicate likewise. In region where the supreme precious Dharma has not spread, or where he has spread but then declined, may I illumine the treasure of happiness and benefit with a mind deeply moved by great compassion. May anyone who merely see, hear, remember, touches, or talks to me be free in that very instant from all suffering and abide in happiness forever. For as long as space endure, for as long living beings remain, until then may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. May I be a protector for those without one, a guide for all travelers on the way. May I be a bridge, a boat, and a ship for all who wish to cross the waters. O venerable, compassionate gurus, we seek your blessings that all commit their obstacle and suffering of other sentient beings may without exception ripen upon us right now. May give our happiness and virtue to others and thereby invest all beings in bliss. Okay. Yeah.
That's all. Gela.
다시 제네서 배겨와 내가 대비는 세제쇼 사제 대제선되는 내가 레게는 상제견도 미변다 여기 남다긴도 샤와쇼 에담도로 나는 예다야네 당저의 그 이스나서 배다다와 제레서 된제자지 제레스비가 에조지 파마선제 동제 배다되는 면도 당제 배다 상주 사바는 수요로 배다지 나랑도조지 파티 사
That's all.
Tujuchi. All right, Tujuchi. So Anila, well, please do let us know as soon as possible. All right. So we hope the teaching can continue smoothly.
Yes, yes. So, Gela de sunchi de mutuni naro chis en kunsuke you shimbatik tapshi tangi yin sungudu enya ngala dwala tapshi tansa de yuna taro chi sungudu gela enye ge tanda dwa tagi yin gela lasa.
Okay, thank you so much, Gishila. Please, Gishila may take his leave first. Anila may take your leave first. All right. We'll see you again. All right. Thank you very much.
Gela nyel taro na sungudu.
Okay, thank you, Anila. Please take your.
Okay.
We keep in touch. Yeah. Okay, Amitofo, everybody. Let us pray and dedicate that we will have a good translator. Okay, take care. Bye bye.